Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give you an overview of this rather nice example of an A&K Airsoft M60. Right then, so give you a brief overview of what's going on here. So this is an A&K M60, an airsoft gun that I've had for a very long time. I wasn't the first owner. I've had this for probably 7 or 8 years, if not longer. And I've played hundreds of games of airsoft with it. Excuse me if I sound a little throaty. But this gun has had a lot of use. I've sold it once before. I then regretted selling it and went and hunted down who owned it, because I didn't sell it to a person, I sold it to a shop. I hunted down the owner and I bought it back, so I regretted selling it. They'd done some work to try and fix it and made things a bit worse, and I started working on getting it usable again. And had it firing lovely. In fact, that's firing a bit too lovely. That was well over the power limit. And whilst I was sorting out downgrading it, a bit fell out of the gearbox, which I couldn't sort out on the field there and then. So I kind of shelved it, and I haven't been to an airsoft day since. So that's never got sorted out. And unfortunately, my days of airsofting really are over. Especially airsofting with something like this that weighs 9.5 kilograms. How I set up here, which is only half a kilogram less than a real one. And it's just not realistic. So it's been sold again, but this time to someone that I know, who I trust to have it, and if they ever want to get rid of it, they'll give me first refusal on having it back, so at least I'll get used. So that's a brief overview on how I got the gun. Now, the gun itself, made by A&K, I hear they don't manufacture them anymore, which means these have come quite sought after. There's only a couple of other airsoft M60s about. A company called Top used to make them years ago. You can't really get them anymore. And there's another brand that makes them. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I want to say Nakatsu, but I'm not sure that's right. But anyway, they're about £1,500, and they actually weigh more than a real M60. They're very heavy bits of equipment. So most people were going for these A&Ks, but they had a lot of problems, and I will go through some of the problems that they had now and how I've remedied them in this particular gun. Alright guys. So, straight off the bat I'll say this gun is very old and has had quite a lot of modifications done to it. The A&K M60s out of the box, they're more than a little bit hit and miss. Most of the problems stemming from the box magazine. And even with all of the modifications done, you can still have quite a lot of problems with these. I actually used to have 2 of them, and they were upgraded in exactly the same way. So if I went to a game, I could normally make it to the end of the day without one of them breaking down. If you had both of them, that is, you might still have one at the end of the day that worked. So they can be a real pain in the arse until a lot of stuff's been done to them. So we're just going to go from the back to the front and go over some of the modifications that I've made to make this one more reliable. Right then, let's start going over the gun. I'll show you some of the pros and the cons as we work through it. We're going to start at the back. So you've got at the back, although it's very stiff, the little shoulder rest that comes out, so when you're laying down you can have it on the shoulder, so that's functional, and I have used that. You've got a decent belt loop, now, or sling loop I should say. Now, getting hold of a real M60 sling, they're incredibly rare, and most normal slings that they fit aren't really up to the job, so what I fitted on is one of these ST-19-A slings. This is a Second World War sling that the Signal Corps used for radios and stuff, and it's just perfect for the M60. So if you can get hold of one of them, and they're not that hard to find on eBay, I suggest getting one for your M60. So that's right at the back end. Then you come forwards, you've got the cover, which will lift up, and is where the gearbox of the gun is. Now, the gearbox is quick to access if you need to do any work on it at all. There's 2 screws on each side of the gun, and then the entire gearbox just slides up and out, so you can access it a lot faster than most airsoft guns. And it has a quick release spring system in it as well, so you can just pop it out, get the spring out, put a new one in if you've got too much power or not enough power. That's something that's really easy to do on the M60. Just in front of the gearbox you obviously have the hop unit and the barrel. They are just located just where my finger is here. You can access them easily. You can modify the hop just from here. You turn the little dial clockwise or counterclockwise for off and on. You have no need to be messing about with the box mag, lifting this bit up. You can access all the hop unit without doing that. So that's easy to do even in the middle of the game. Obviously on the side plate mounted you've got the box mag. If I undo the Velcro bit here, you can see that's a plastic box mag ran off the battery that's connected to the gun, so it doesn't have its own battery, and that essentially works like a massive high cap. You just feed your BBs in the top here, and the gear system at the bottom will push them through a little tube that comes out the side, which I'll show you in a minute, which then goes into the gun and through the barrel as the gearbox turns over. The magazine is where most of the problems with this gun come from, and I'll cover them more in a minute. We'll just do a quick front to back first. The cover clips down easily. Sights, you're not going to be using them, but they are there and they do flip up and down. Carry handle, absolutely not fit for purpose, not strong enough in any way, shape or form. I do not recommend ever carrying these by the carry handle. That will just bend at best case scenario and snap worst case scenario, so do not do. You've got this lever. If I tilt the gun, you see this lever here, that's how you disconnect the front of the gun from the receiver. I won't do it on this one because they're a pain to get back in, but essentially you push that up and the entire front end of the gun will come out, and that's how you can change things like a hop rubber in the hop unit or swap your barrel out, stuff like that. A pain in the ass to get to go back in once you check it out, so I'm not going to do that. Then you've got your nice mock heat shield, because obviously you don't get no heat in here. Out of the box, these would come with a little system that makes them fire faster or slower, which you'd access by turning this here. I've had, well actually it was before I even owned the gun, that was bypassed, because that's just another thing to go wrong. That's more additional wiring, and you don't want to be really adding resistance and stuff to the battery. It's not really a good idea. So chop that straight off as far as I'm concerned. And then obviously you just got the rest of the barrel, a nice bipod. This is not the one it came with. The A&K bipods are made out of monkey metal. They're absolute garbage, and they just shear the lugs off the mount constantly. In fact, I have two of them, which I can show you right now. Right, so this here is the gun's original bipod. Now, when that's folded up like this, that looks nice and fine. But you pull this leg out, well, that's all right. Nothing wrong there. But you pull the other leg out, and you know, you've got a bit of an issue. And that's because, if I hold it to the camera, you can see that lug has sheared off on the actual mount itself here. So this one's no good when the bipod's down. And then I found another one randomly at a game once, which is this one. And that's basically got the other problem where the leg won't stay up. And that did that the first time I used it. So the normal bipods for the A&Ks are utter garbage. But I found on the internet this bipod. I don't know if that's a real M60 bipod or if that's from one of the old top guns or something like that. They probably used actual steel. I know it is proper steel. That's going rusty for a start. So that's been put on here, and I have not managed to break that. That is a much more heavy duty proper steel bipod. So if you can get hold of one, definitely do, because the A&K ones are useless. And then at the front there, you've just got your normal little muzzle flash at the end there. You can take it off and change it if you want, but I don't see the point. I did fit a 14-inch silencer on this once just to upset people on the internet, but you know, that was a long time ago. And then the only other thing to really add to it is I've got a little belt of inert rounds here. You see I've chopped a couple off at this end, and all they do is really sit on here to make it look a bit more authentic. So you just cable tie this to the bracket, and then they just fit in the bag, something like that, just to make it look a little bit more authentic. So that's a quick overview of the gun from a distance, some of the problems pointed out. Now I'm going to bring the camera down and show you this box magazine and how that works closer up, so I can describe why the problems are what they are and why I don't really recommend these guns to people unless they're going to accept that they're going to be a pain in the arse without a lot of modification. Right then guys, so here is what I think is a good angle to try and show you the real problem with this gun. So you can see just where my finger is here, that's the top of the metal plate which the canvas bag straps to. So what you got is just a little Velcro strap going around here, and that's all that holds the actual box mag to the gun. Obviously that's getting a lot of pressure against it, that's running around during the game of Airsoft, etc, etc. And what happens is this feed pipe here, which comes through the box mag and then through a little hole in the canvas bag, then has a gap in the plate which it comes through and it goes into here. And as this is moving around, this is getting kinked and bent like so up against the metal plate and the side of the box mag, and the slightest interference with this and that won't feed at all. So that's a critical failure in the design really, and you see how battered this spring is in here. But what you do to fix the solution, or what I should say is the solution to fix the issue, is basically the metal plate that has a tiny little hole just for that to come through. You cut that and make it bigger so that you can allow more play without this being caught, and you can also cut the box mag to make the hole in that bigger for the same reason. And then what else I've done is, you can see this cloth tape here is strapped around where the Velcro also straps around the plate, and that's strapped on very tight, so there's virtually no wiggle. You see if this wiggles, the plate wiggles, but that never wiggles without moving the plate exactly at the same time. So that alleviates a lot of the pressure on this spring and makes the feed system basically as reliable as it can be. The box mag itself, if I just get the camera to focus, the box mag itself is very reliable. It's just the feed tube that has the problem. So if I get that out of the way, you can see there's really nothing to it. It's just a simple feed system. And there you can see as well, if I open that back up, you can see how the tube goes through the box mag, and see why that could get easily kinked if you have it moving independently of the gun and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, it's not the greatest design in the world, but with a little bit of modification you can make it quite reliable. But these are prone to jamming up, and when they do jam up, it's normally because this feed tube down there has got stuck somehow. And you can also see the connector for the battery comes out of here, so you put the battery in the canvas case along with the box mag. I normally stuff a big brick battery right down here, which again tightens up this in the bag and makes everything wobble around a bit less and make it a bit more functional. Right guys, so that's basically the A&K M60 with a quick overview of some of its problems. Let's give you a bit of footage of my one here. Hopefully that'll come out alright. You can see how old mine is, because a lot of this weather, and although some of it was done manually before I got it, most of it, especially down here, you see the rust, and a lot of this wear and tear is just from use. But you see that's a very nice looking gun, probably the best looking example of the A&K M60 that you'll ever see as far as I'm concerned. Again, you can see how that sling, well, it's not really a sling, but how on this that works as an excellent sling. All the muck from years ago when it used to get pulled through that I never cleaned off. So really, with the exception of the feed mechanism, they are very good guns. But like I say, you can do a few things to make that feed mechanism more reliable. Just give you another quick shot here of the gearbox. You can see mine doesn't even have a spring in it at the minute, because that's waiting for a part to be remounted by the new owner. So this is currently not functional because a little bit fell out the gearbox, and I can't show you that working, unfortunately. I'd like to turn you it foreign. You can see there where the cover would normally be in here. You can see the hop unit, easily accessible. So you just turn that clockwise and counterclockwise to adjust your hop in there. Right then guys, that's just been a quick look at my A&K M60 before I get rid of it. A quick going over some of the issues they have. So hopefully that will help some people if they've got one of these. They're lucky enough to have one of these. Hopefully that will help them sort it out. If any of you do have one of these and are having issues with it, feel free to message me. I'll see what I can do. I do have a lot of experience with these guns now. I'm not confident with helping with any other gun, but with one of these I'm fairly confident. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed seeing this before I get rid of it. At least I'll know that's going to a good home and getting used rather than just sitting up on the shelf taking up a lot of space. So yeah, sorry to see it go, but I'm afraid things in life just change. But hopefully you enjoyed seeing it. Please do message, leave any comments, any questions, and please do subscribe to help the channel grow, because we're now getting nearly to 500 views, subscribers I should say. Excuse my ramblings this video. I've had a bit of a virus and that's left me very throaty and a bit out of it, so apologies there. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next time.